The day my sister ruined my wedding, I thought nothing could ever cut deeper. But as she stood there, clutching my bouquet with that strange smile, whispering, "Emily, I have to tell you something about James," I felt something break inside me. What was she hiding? Why did James look so pale when our eyes met? I ran from that church with my heart in pieces, convinced I'd lost everything. But life's cruel twists weren't done with me yet. Years later, she walked into my office, desperate, trembling, begging me for a job. How could I ever trust her again? Was this karma? Or just the start of another cruel game? And Daniel, the man who held me when I thought I'd drown, was he truly mine? Or was he hiding secrets of his own? Some betrayals never end. They just wait to strike again. I still remember the look on my sister's face when she stood there in her peach bridesmaid dress, holding my wedding bouquet with her trembling hands. She was supposed to be happy for me. She was supposed to be my biggest supporter on my big day. But instead she destroyed it. My name is Emily. I grew up in a quiet suburb outside of Boston, Massachusetts. I had always been the softer one, more forgiving, more eager to please. My older sister Rachel was the star. The pretty one. The bold one. The one everyone noticed when she walked into a room. But despite all that, I loved her fiercely. I trusted her blindly. I never thought she could be the person to tear my life apart. I met James 3 years ago at a friend's Christmas party. He was sweet, gentle, with the kind of smile that made you forget the world. We fell hard and fast. Before long, we were planning a life together. The proposal was simple, by the Charles River under fairy lights. And everything about it felt like the start of a beautiful forever. Except, Rachel never quite seemed thrilled. She would make little jokes. "Oh, Emily always finds the boring ones." Or, "Wow, you really trust him? You barely know what men are like." I laughed it off. I thought it was normal sister banter. I didn't realize it was poison. When my wedding day finally arrived, I was so nervous I could hardly breathe. My dress was ivory silk, my mother was crying. My father was proudly walking me down the aisle. And there at the end was James waiting. Then it happened. Right before the ceremony began, my maid of honor, my own sister, pulled me aside. I can't keep this from you anymore," Rachel stammered, her eyes darting everywhere but my face. "What is it?" "Rachel, I'm about to walk down the aisle." I laughed, hoping it was a silly last-minute surprise. "I slept with James," she blurted out. My world stopped. Everything around me blurred. The flowers, the guests, the gentle piano music. "What? That's not funny, Rachel." "It's not a joke," she said, her voice suddenly steady. "He came on to me a few months ago. It just happened. I couldn't let you marry him without knowing." I don't remember much after that. I remember clutching my stomach because it felt like I might throw up. I remember James trying to come to me, saying it was a lie. But the way Rachel's smirk told me everything I needed to know. I ran. Out of the venue. Out of the perfect day. I left behind $1,000 cake, 100 guests, and the illusion that my sister would ever truly love me. In the weeks that followed, Rachel tried to reach out. So did James. But I locked myself away in my small apartment, curtains drawn, phone off. I replayed that day over and over, her smug face, his panicked eyes, my dreams shattering at my feet. People whispered. Neighbors stopped by to gossip under the guise of sympathy. But inside I was hollow. Then one night 3 months later I stood in front of the mirror. My hair was greasy, my eyes swollen from crying. I whispered to myself, "Is this who you're going to be forever? Broken? Pathetic?" That night I decided no more. If my sister wanted to crush me, she'd have to watch me rise instead. I started by fixing the outside, cutting my hair, buying new clothes, even hitting the gym. But the real work was inside. I poured myself into my career. I'd always been good with numbers, so I joined a mid-sized accounting firm downtown. I stayed late, took on impossible clients, and after 2 years I was being groomed for a partner track. During all this time, Rachel was still around, throwing lavish parties, posting pictures of tropical vacations. She had moved on from James quickly, of course. She needed fresh drama to feed on. But I noticed little cracks. She started complaining on social media about money, about how hard it was to keep up with mortgage payments. Apparently, Daddy had stopped bailing her out. He was furious after what she'd done to me. Then one afternoon everything changed. I was reviewing files in the conference room when my boss, Linda walked in. Emily, there's someone here I want you to meet. He's applying for a senior project consultant position. I stood up, smoothed my skirt, and turned. And my heart nearly stopped. It was Daniel. Daniel was Rachel's ex-boyfriend before she ever knew James. The only guy I ever thought might be too good for her. He smiled when he saw me. Emily? Wow. It's been years. We sat down, catching up awkwardly. He'd started a business overseas, sold it for millions, and was back in Boston looking to invest or take on interesting projects. By the end of the meeting, Linda practically shoved us together. Emily's leading our biggest portfolio. You two should absolutely collaborate. And so we did. Working with Daniel felt effortless. He respected me, listened to my ideas, celebrated my wins. Slowly, after late dinners and long strategy weekends, something deeper grew between us. 6 months later, he asked me out for real. And this time, there was no Rachel to sabotage it. We were together for nearly a year when he surprised me by proposing on a quiet snowy night in Manchester by the sea. I said yes without hesitation. And soon after, Daniel invested heavily in my firm, making us the largest stakeholder group. Linda retired early, leaving me as the new managing partner. It was the kind of power I never thought I'd have. And I was just getting started. Rachel found out in the cruelest way possible. She applied for a high-level accounting position, probably thinking she'd dazzle them with her charm and connections. Imagine her face when she walked into the boardroom for her final interview and saw me sitting at the head of the table. She stuttered, tried to laugh it off. Emily? Oh my God, what are you doing here? I own this firm now, Rachel, I said calmly. So technically, you'd be working for me. Her jaw dropped. The other partners watched, eyes wide, probably savoring the family drama. I stood, circled around her. You ruined my wedding, you shattered my trust, and you laughed while I picked up the pieces. Now here you are, desperate for a job because Daddy cut you off. Rachel's face flushed beet red. Her hands clutched her purse so tightly I thought it might break. Emily, please, she whispered. I didn't know it would all spiral like this. I was stupid. I was jealous. I thought James would pick me. But he didn't. He never did. And now I need this. I have bills. A mortgage. I'm drowning. There was a time I would have melted. Would have hugged her and promised to fix everything. But not anymore. I'm sorry, Rachel, I said, even though I wasn't. But you're not the kind of integrity we hire here. Good luck. Her eyes filled with tears. I thought for a second she might collapse. Then she turned and stumbled out of the boardroom, her shoulders shaking. When the door shut, I let out a breath I didn't know I was holding. Justice didn't always look like revenge. Sometimes it was simply standing tall when the person who tried to destroy you had to kneel at your feet. A few weeks later, I married Daniel in a small ceremony overlooking the Atlantic. No giant guest list, no extravagant show, just a handful of real friends, and the man who loved me truly. I didn't invite Rachel. I didn't need her there. This time it was about me. About joy. About a future I'd built on my own terms. When we danced under the string lights, Daniel whispered, I'm so proud of you. The way you stood up for yourself. It's incredible. And I realized he was right. The old Emily would have been too scared to hurt Rachel, even after all the pain she caused. The new Emily understood that protecting her peace was more important than preserving a toxic bond. In the months that followed, I heard Rachel moved out of state. Tried to restart somewhere else. I hope in some small way she learned what envy and betrayal cost her. But it's not my burden to carry anymore. Because for once in my life, I wasn't the one left picking up shattered pieces. I was the one holding the masterpiece. And that was worth everything.